This year, the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere occurs on December 21st. And what better way to get those warm and fuzzy seasonal feels than with a snow scene? I kept my original sketch in view while using a Faber-Castell Polychromos color pencil to recreate it. The paper is Shizen Hot Press. It's 100% cotton rag, and for a hot press type of paper, it's quite bumpy. But don't be fooled, it doesn't act like a cold press. It just doesn't have that sort of tooth or thirst. It's different from what I'm used to being a cold-pressed gal, but I have enjoyed using this. I would like to try Shizen's version of cold press, which I've seen and know to be highly textured. Normally, I'd speed up much of this footage to 300%, but I went with 200 instead. That means the video is kinda long, but I'm hoping that will help to show the characteristics of this paper. There was a previous project, the Good Witches Production Journal from last October, that used this paper. So if you're curious to see more Shizen action, follow the link in the description. I was going to use a Pigma Micron for line work, but figured I'd try out one of producer Mike's Stettler fine liners. The set came in a cool plastic case where the top half folds back. If they belonged to me, I'd just toss them in my pen tray, but it's still a clever design. I tested them out and chose the .5 size. It worked very well. During the planning stage, I'd imagined adding lots of detailed inking on this piece, but during the process, I decided to rein in that temptation. That sort of style would be more suited to a smoother surface, I think. As you can see, my colors were lined up along the side. What you can't see are a couple more just out of frame, a red and a green, for the holly sprigs later on. Also out of frame is my water container. I used to use 2 glass jars, but I've switched them out for a single plastic container. Eventually, I'd like to replace that with a larger glass container. Either the kind you pour rocks into to create decorative centerpieces, or perhaps a trifle bowl. But something tells me that would be going overboard. That something being producer Mike. There are certain things that are surefire, wintry, festive mood bringers: hot cocoa, holiday movies, seasonal retail displays, and Christmas cocktails volumes 1, 2, and 3 from the Ultra Lounge Music Collection. Just to name a few. Oh, and snow. Although we don't seem to get as much white stuff around here anymore. While growing up, I recall foot-tall snowfalls. That's right, if we had less than a foot, there was no "schools canceled." It had to be a good 12 inches before a snow date was declared. Of course, this winter, I'll be relying a lot on YouTube for seasonal immersion. And I'm not just talking about virtual fireplace. I'm talking about pack and chat videos where soap makers box up orders of peppermint and gingerbread scented bars, bombs, and body butters. It gives me something to dream about while I'm in the tub with my bar of Dial, wishing so hard that it looked and smelled like a s'more. My newest brush is this half-inch stroke from Princeton's Aqua Elite line, and this was my first time using it. Well, I only really used it for the ribbon border, but that counts. Speaking of ribbons, it's fascinating to watch people create bows out of the stuff. I guess it's not that complicated, but you do have to know what you're doing. Sort of like knitting or crocheting. I tried to learn how to crochet, but that was beyond me. A sad little 8-inch chain was the closest I got to my grand vision of crafting a tasseled bedspread. Unlike that crushing defeat, my new brush didn't stir strong feelings in me. It did the job without any drama, so I'll call that a success. That's been my standard for judgment ever since the ferrule fell off of a super cheap brush of mine several years ago. Do I need to tell you how much fun it is to paint holly? That's one of the things I feel confident about. That and pumpkins. I may suck at rabbits, but just give me a nice fat pumpkin. I once made a pumpkin pie from scratch. This was many years ago. It turned out not incredible, but certainly fine and edible. But all the effort hardly seemed worth it when I could buy a pre-made one of equal quality for like $5. So yeah, one and done. An overachiever I am not. But that doesn't mean a bundled up Swedish gal couldn't put together some chocolatey candies on a frozen lake, skate to the other side to whip up some warm cocktails, jump through a hole in the ice for a cold plunge, then finally settle into a hot tub while finishing off those drinks. I actually just watched that on the new Scan Man YouTube channel. It was wild. Another one of the Stettler pens. I think this was the .8 size. I've used several brands of fine liner type pens, and there have been no issues with any of them. Sakura, Faber-Castell, and Stettler, all of them have worked great. The Sakura Pigma Microns are the ones I have the most experience with, having used them since the 1980s, while Faber-Castell and Stettler pens are newer to me. That reminds me, viewer Black Cat in the Black Box pointed out that Sakura makes Pigma brush pens too. And with my relatively new interest in brush pens, I hope to try those out sometime. Now, I had a plan with the ribbon border from the beginning. I wanted it to be silvery, so I figured the Kuretake white gold is the closest I have to that. But since it's not entirely opaque, I chose to paint the ribbon in shades of blue first, then apply white gold on top, in hopes that the underpainting would show through to some extent. I thought that would look better than just painting white gold over the naked paper, and I think that strategy was mostly successful. Here I'm applying highlights with bleed-proof white. While I use my bottle of Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed-proof white often, it's not practical for some situations. So I still want to try using masking fluid at some time. I've heard some painters say that if you have to use masking fluid, then you aren't doing it right, which, firstly, is so judgy, and secondly, not very helpful. Like those people who go on about back in my day and claim they had to walk to school in 10 inches of... Oh, wait. I wasn't careful during the untaping and some of the paper came off. From now on, when working with this deckled edge Shizen paper, I'll try to remember to de-tack the tape before applying it. That can be done by sticking it to my Halloween print pajama pants or jeans, whatever a normal person would be wearing. Do not apply to bare skin. I think the natural oils remove too much of the tackiness. Plus, you don't want leg hairs. Well, you get the picture. A couple of things I wish I'd done differently. The sky should be way darker, and if any painting needed some splattering, this one was it. I'm happy to share this winter-themed piece, and thank you for spending some of your minutes here at INCWorks. If you enjoyed this session, please take a moment to like, subscribe, or leave a comment. Nothing motivates a needy artist more than acknowledgement, passive or overt. Until next time, remember to wear pants of some sort and stay artsy, my friends.